whenever I got saved, that wasn't the first thing on my mind, and I wanted it to be as far away from my interests as possible because I knew I struggled with that.
Got 2 lanes on the one way. Got 2 lanes on the one way. Got 2 lanes on the one way. Heaven or hell coming someday. Got 2 lanes on the one way. Got 2 lanes on the one way. Got 2 lanes on the one way. Heaven or hell coming someday. Got 2 lanes on the one way. Heaven or hell coming someday. Talk that talk. 2 planes on the runway. 2 destinations. Heaven or hell. They taking off someday. Could be Saturday through Sunday, Monday through Sunday. So get saved before that one day. Listen to that one way show. Yeah.
And so today we have a young lady from our church, Ebony. And so, Ebony, why don't you share a little bit of your testimony and tell what God's done in your life?
Okay. Hi, my name's Ebony, and I had been going to church my whole life. We'd go in and out of some churches, but my parents, they still smoked weed. They were big potheads, and my dad was in a death metal band, so he got a lot of pride from that. And um, my parents' relationship wasn't really, all that put together. My dad didn't really trust my mom. He would always scope out the house whenever he got home, um, like looking for another guy and stuff. But so so I didn't see a lot of trust in that. Um, so whenever we came to this church, I didn't really take it seriously because I've seen the way my parents acted at other churches. I was like, oh, well, it's just another church. But I saw a change in my dad because for the first time, my dad went up to the altar and he prayed, and I saw a difference. On our way home that day, he quit his rock band, and that was huge for me because I knew that he adored rock music and playing the bass and going to concerts because he took a lot of pride in that. So I was shocked, but once you go back to school, there's a lot of people that influence you. So for like 7 years coming to this church, I didn't take it seriously. I did over the summer when I wasn't around people who could influence me, but um, at school I was a whole different person.
Right.
Um, I was like a top tier sinner. I cussed like a sailor, you know.
Right.
But yeah, so um, ended up getting taken out of school, so I had a chance to take it seriously. But I was also upset that my parents did that for me. It's kind of funny how once things start changing and you have a chance to, you don't want to do it. But um, so they took me out of school and they put me on a homeschooling program. And like I said, I was upset, but I ended up giving my life to Jesus because I didn't want to get left out of the rapture, and I didn't see any worth in trying to be somebody else when I see all these people who have been changed and I've seen the signs that Jesus is real. And so I gave my life to Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Been saved for 2 years now.
2 years. And how old are you?
I am 17.
17. And so how old were you when you came into the church?
I was 10 years old.
10. And so what is it like that? What do you think made you get saved? Like, at what point? All right, you know what? This is it. This is real for me. Like, I want to get saved.
So throughout school, like I said, I suffered through peer pressure and I gave in real quickly. And, since I was at home and church people were the only people that I could be around, technically, I had always struggled. Like I said, during the summer, I would stay saved. And I was determined I would witness to people on outreach. I would get on the bullhorn. I would I would try my best, but once went back to school, it was like nothing ever happened. It was like I never changed.
Wow.
So I thought about it, and I was like, I have an opportunity to do this correctly. I don't have any distractions. I can do this. I can go all in, and nobody will be there to convince me, like, hey, like, it's all right. Your parents aren't here. They ain't here to see you. Like, you can be yourself around us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I took that opportunity.
Nice. And so tell us about, were you ever in church? Were you ever part of how do you say it? Church kid mafia?
um, I mean, I had friends in the church. I mean, we weren't saved back then. I get not really.
No.
I mean, I wasn't really around any of the kids who I thought were popular, and I thought they were too cool to talk to me. Um, but I guess you can say I had my own little group of friends, like our own little clique. We did bad stuff together. We talked about
And
bad stuff, you
so,
know.
okay, can you explain to people, because people don't know, like people who don't go to church, or maybe even kids who do go to church and they're trying to trick everybody, or they're trying to play the part. Did you ever do that? Did you ever fake, oh, I'm saved and this and that? And you already knew, you grew up in church, so you knew how to talk, you knew how to do all that,
Absolutely,
right?
I did that a lot,
Right.
and every single time I would get a boyfriend, or I would every once in a while, my parents would let me have a phone that was like an old phone that only worked on Wi-Fi. I would immediately try to text my friends on there, and whenever I got to the point where I could do that, you know, I'd be cursing and while I was texting, and every single time, my dad found out. Every single time, I couldn't hide nothing from him, but I knew it wasn't just because he was going through my stuff; is because God told him
Right.
that like,
Right.
hey,
Right.
there's
Right.
something wrong. There was even one time I got a boyfriend at school, and I was on my last straw. I was like, this is the last school my parents are gonna give me a second chance at, and I blew it, obviously. Um, and my mom had a dream. She had a dream that I was messing around with the boy at school. She had a dream I had a boyfriend, and then the one of the girls that was going to our church, she was saved and she was going to that school with me. And she found out, she saw me with the guy. She told my parents. And so, yeah, they found out every time. I couldn't hide nothing. I guess in a way you could say I was the kind of a church kid mafia
Right. Right.
because I
Right.
would
Right.
tell my friends everything. There was this one certain friend, I would tell her every single thing I did, good, bad, even like the ugly things I did.
Right. Right. Right.
And she would tell me like, why are you doing that? Like that's not okay. But at the same time, she'd get excited when I liked somebody new. You know what I mean?
And this friend was not in the church, right? It was somebody at school.
No, it was at church.
Okay. Oh
Somebody
wow.
at church, yeah. She's saved now, but we we had our own little thing there. We go do things at her house behind her parents' back and stuff at,
Right.
late at night when they were asleep.
That's crazy. Okay, so wow. So tell us about your parents, because you grew up in church, and so tell us about your parents, how they raised you, and their exampleship in your life.
So my parents were good parents. I guess the only thing you'd say was that they fight a lot with each other, but you know they send me off to my room every time they fought. I cry because I knew what was going on, but my parents treated me right. They'd never beat me. I think I only got spanked like twice in my whole childhood. Um, I was very a good kid when I was little, so you know my parents they would take me, they'd do stuff for me. They take me to Slitterbond every single birthday. Um, they'd spoil me. I was an only child until we started coming to church, but yeah, I'd say my parents they were good enough parents. They were trying their best, um, but you know they were in their you know pothead ways.
Right, right,
They'd smoke weed. They'd drink every time they were at home. My dad was always leaving and coming back. He'd come home from work and then immediately he'd go off to band practice. So I never really had a solid relationship with him. And I think that's why whenever I got to middle school, even though I was coming to church, I did go boy crazy. You know what I mean?
right.
Because girls who don't have a solid father figure in their life, even if he's there, he can be absent. So it did take a toll. And I, had boyfriends and stuff. My mom, my mom was a very good mom. She was patient, especially with my father. He's, he was always being crazy, and um, my dad would say rude stuff to us. He would, call my mom retarded and recolor a lot of names. Always accuse her of cheating on him, and that one day she's just gonna leave him. And my dad was, I think he just, I think he was just, insecure because he knew the person he was, and inside, that even though you feel like you're okay, you're not, So I guess he would get the feeling that my mom was just gonna leave him one day. And so I saw that, and I knew that they didn't trust, or that my dad didn't trust my mom, and that broke my heart because I knew my mom would never do that to him.
Right.
But overall, I'd say my parents tried their best, even though they did fight in front of me and hotbox in the car with me in the back seat. But um, I'd say overall they were good parents.
Cool,
And
nice.
church wise, um, we went to a whole bunch of churches. We went to a mega church one time. They had a daycare. They taught us the Bible stories. But like I said, I never saw a change in my parents. It was always the same thing over and over. When we got home, they were smoking. They were smoking on our way back home from church and our way to church. There was even a point where I got baptized, and I didn't. It's like nothing happened. It's like because at our church we explain like this is laying down the old man, but and then coming out new and showing that hey, I'm gonna serve God and you can hold me accountable.
Right.
But it didn't feel that way. It was a huge church. Nobody talked to anybody. Nobody had a relationship with anybody. We were just there to feel good. So
No, no accountability, no nothing. It was just go to church and then leave.
yeah, go to church, feel good, and then leave.
Right, right, right. Wow. And so now y'all come to the fellowship, and then you start seeing your dad and your mom. They get saved, and so you start seeing them, I guess, like in ministry or just serving God. Period, right? And so, what did that like? How did that affect you?
Well, whenever they started really getting involved, and my mom actually started getting a lot of friends, because she didn't really talk to much people. Whenever we were saved, my dad got in ministry. He started playing the bass, and I thought that was pretty cool. But I knew that even if I tried, they wouldn't let me do it because I knew that I was a sinner at school and like a good kid at home, trying my best,
Right,
to be okay and saved. But I knew that I was lying and that I was being fake, so I never really wanted to be in ministry myself. Like it never made me want to do what they were doing, and seeing my parents, I thought it was cool. I was like, oh, okay, like this is nice. My parents are doing better, like, but I'm okay because my parents are coming to church and I'm here, so it's okay. I'm good.
right, right. What was your view, or how did you think about church? What did you even think about church as far as like, you think it was like too much rules, or it's not for me, or it's boring, or what did you think about stuff like that?
I I loved church. I thought it was amazing because, like, at this church, these people are serious.
Right,
Like, they're taking God seriously.
right,
I loved coming to church, but I didn't I thought there were too many rules. Like, but I want to do my own thing. I don't want to be solid. I don't want to be like an actual Christian. Like, yeah, I love God, and I think that's enough. Like, I want to do my own thing. I want to experience things for myself, and then decide later if I want to give my life to God.
right, right. So
So, and I thought that was okay. Like, I was doing fine.
you just wanted to, I guess, look the part, right? Can be religious, I guess, in a
Yeah.
way. Wow, that's crazy.
And I believed everything Pastor said. You know, uh, I knew what he was saying was true, um, but I just didn't really want to be all in.
Right.
I wanted my parents to be proud of me, so I would pretend I was saved a lot most of the time, even though they knew that I wasn't and that I was just pretending. Most of the time, they wouldn't say anything, but
They already
I
knew you weren't
just
saved.
yeah, they already knew.
So in you know, of course, in the church and fellowship, like being a pastor's wife or whatever it is, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, actually, I once I got saved, I did want to be a pastor's wife because my parents they started going to Poteet and they had like a community center there. My dad would preach, and it was like a satellite church, and so I thought that was really cool. I was like, wow, I want to be married and I want to experience that one day. That's really cool. Like they're reaching souls together. They're not alone, you know. And even though they're away from church, they still have each other and they're doing this together and God's helping them. And I thought that was really cool. And that was one of the things that I really wanted to do. Um, and I really wanted to get involved in ministry. Um, but you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's like it gets scary, but because you wanna do it right.
Right, right.
You wanna make them proud. But yeah, I'm a ministry, and I do want to be a pastor's wife one day.
Nice. And so you said that looking at your mom and dad and going out there, and you're like, man, I want to be married. So now you are married, and so tell us about that. How is you've been married for a couple months now? So tell us how's that been?
It's been amazing. It's been really cool. I never thought that I would get married. I always thought like, no, nobody would ever like me like that. First of all, and I don't know if I could hold a relationship together like that because I have flaws. I'm a flawed person, but I definitely deep down did want to have a relationship with somebody in the church and do it correctly because at school it's just a school relationship. It lasts for like a week or a month and that's it.
Right.
You know, and y'all don't do things the right way. You know, you sit and you fornicate. And, you know, it's not real. But whenever I got saved, that wasn't that wasn't the first thing on my mind, and I wanted it to be as far away from my interests as possible because I knew I struggled with that.
Right.
Because, like I said, my dad once he got saved, he was doing his best. You know, he was present finally, and but I was rebellious. You know, I was like, no, I want a boyfriend anyways because all these other girls have boyfriends, and if I don't have a boyfriend, then well, I guess that means I'm not attractive. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I'll kind of build a hatred towards myself. Like, wow, nobody likes me. But so whenever I first got saved, I tried to stay away from that since it was something I struggled with. But you know, God ended up showing me the right one. We did things the correct way. We didn't touch, we didn't kiss, we didn't do any of that. We left God at the center of it. We made sure everything we were doing was correct and not in violation of what God says in the Bible. And now I'm happily married, and I've been married for 6 months. And
Nice.
it's been going very well. You know, you marry a best friend and you know that you did things right. You can be with each other with a clear conscience, knowing that this is God and
Yeah.
that, you know, you're married and you live with your best friend.
Right, right, right. Wow, that's cool. So if you could say to any young kids, teenagers, it don't matter, but I guess younger people though, younger girls, as far as growing up in church, as far as keeping yourself till you get married, and maybe there's kids, younger kids going out, thinking they want to do this, they need to do that. What would you say to them?
Well, I never really did smoke or drink or have sex with anybody, so I would just say don't do it. Like, try your best not to. And it's really not worth it. And also, just because you're a teenager, you're adolescent, your hormones are everywhere, your body's changing, and people tell you like, "Hey, it's okay. Go do what you want now before you get old and you can't do things no more." Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Keep yourself pure, and don't do what everybody else is doing because, oh, then nobody's gonna like me, or I'm not gonna have friends. Don't care what people think. And I know that's really hard, and people tell you that all the time, but it's true. Like, don't don't fall into temptation because everybody else is doing it. Um, Set yourself apart. It's a beautiful thing to keep yourself pure and to live for God, um, and show people like, hey, you can do this. Like, you can be an example and an inspiration to people who want to get saved. Um, so yeah, just keep yourself pure. Don't don't fall into temptation. People at school aren't worth it. They're what's the word? Their approval in your life isn't worth it. They don't matter. You're not gonna ever see them again when you're out of school. You're gonna have your own life and just live it right. God can do so many things with your life and for you, and He can change you. And just giving in and doing all the things that people are doing nowadays is not worth it. It's not going to do anything for you, it's going to make it worse. I couldn't live with myself sinning and stuff. I cried every night. I hated myself, and I had depression, anxiety, whole package. And it's just really not worth it. None of this stuff, none of the boyfriends help. They don't. They don't help. And if you have a boyfriend right now, you know that you're still insecure. You still don't think that that boy loves you, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Give your life to Jesus and keep yourself pure, because God has a plan for your life, and He has the right man for you or girl for you. And wasting your purity on someone who doesn't truly care about you is very dumb. Don't do it. Keep yourself pure.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to give your life to Jesus Christ, just pray this simple prayer with me real quick. Say, Father God, I'm a sinner in need of a Savior. I ask that you forgive me of all my sin. Come into my heart and be my Lord and Savior. I believe you died on the cross and rose the third day. Thank you for forgiving me of all my sin. If you prayed that prayer and you need a church to go to, come in, that number on the bottom of the screen, come in contact with us, and we'll help you find a local church to go to and start living for God. Thank you.
Got 2 lanes on the one way. Got 2 lanes on the one way. Got 2 lanes on the one way. Heaven or hell coming someday. Got 2 lanes on the one way. Got 2 lanes on the one way. Got 2 lanes on the one way. Heaven or hell coming someday. Got 2 lanes on the one way. Heaven or hell coming someday. Talk that talk. 2 planes on the runway. 2 destinations. Heaven or hell. They taking off someday. Could be Saturday through Sunday, Monday through Sunday. So get saved before that one day. Listen to that one way show. Yeah.